Parshat Emor, Chamishi. The Torah discusses the Yom Tov of Rosh Hashanah, which is the 7th month of the year and the first day of the year, of the month rather, and that's called Zichron Teruah, remembrance of the Teruah. Any work that is not permitted to be done on that day, and Karbanos are brought. It's an interesting idea from her Rabbi Soloveitchik, Zecher Tzadik Levracha, but here in Parshat Emor it says Zichron Teruah, yet in Parshas Pinchas, when in fact the Yom Tov is mentioned, it's called Yom Teruah. Why the difference? So there is some debate in the Gemara whether if your Rosh Hashanah falls out on Shabbat, whether you're required to blow the shofar Minat Torah or Midrabanan. The Gemara obviously comes out Midrabanan. Minat Torah, you are required to blow the shofar on Rosh Hashanah, but because of Rabbi's din, that Rabbi says that you're not allowed to carry outside, and we're concerned that maybe you'll take the shofar and carry it to your rabbi, so your rabbi explained to you how to blow the shofar. So the Gemara says we made such a gzeira, a takana, that you do not, in fact, blow the shofar on Rosh Hashanah. But Rabbi Soloveitchik says, but why does the Torah say Zichron Teruah? What is the difference between Zichron Teruah and Yom Teruah? And he says a very important idea, that it's not just Nogea for Rosh Hashanah, but it's Nogea for all year round. And he says there are two kinds of mitzvahs in the Torah. There's a mitzvah called a Siyas HaMitzvah, a Maisa HaMitzvah, and then there's a mitzvah besides the Maisa HaMitzvah, there is the Kiyum HaMitzvah. What's the difference? Let's give an example. An example would be eating matzah. If you eat matzah, even though you have no intent to eat the matzah, if somebody would take the matzah and stuff it down your throat, as the Gemara in Shabbat, the Pesachim says, kafah, if somebody forces you to eat matzah, you have fulfilled your obligation of eating matzah on the night of Pesach. However, if you do a mitzvah of shofar, but without having any intent of what you're doing on this mitzvah, you're just blowing the horn, it happens to be a shofar, you're not fulfilling that mitzvah because you don't know what that mitzvah, the purpose of that mitzvah is doing for you. So and that applies to many, many mitzvahs in the Torah. Some mitzvahs are only the action is what's required, and some mitzvahs is in fact the intent of the mitzvah. And that's why according to some of the minhagim, even if it's depending on Ashkenaz or Sfard actually does it in the silent Shemona Esrei below shofar, and even the Ashkenaz they do in the Chazar Shashatz, because tefillah is not only just saying the words. Tefillah has to be tefillah shebelev. It has to be with the heart, and since it's with the heart, so you without that, that's why you put shofar in the air in that mitzvah of doing something with the heart to focus on the subject matter of the purpose of what the shofar is, to wake you up and to remind you of what your purpose here is on this world, to do tshuva and to be a true servant of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Continuing with the next subject, which is Yom Kippurim, which is on the 10th day of the 7th month of Chodesh Tishrei, we go ahead and we celebrate Yom Kippurim. The part of the mitzvah of Yom Kippurim, one of the main mitzvahs is to fast on that day and bring korbanos. You're not allowed to do any malachas on that day. Yom Kippur is called a Shabbat Shabbaton. It's a real holy day, and anybody who doesn't fast on that day for no good reason, if he has sakanat nefashot, pikuach nefesh, of course he doesn't have to fast. But otherwise, a healthy person is required to fast on that day, and if in fact he doesn't fast on that day, it's a inyan of penalty of kares. Then there's also a mitzvah on Erev Yom Kippurim to eat on Erev Yom Kippurim, and the Gemara says whoever eats on Erev Yom Kippurim as if he fasted on Erev Yom Kippur and Erev Yom Kippur, and also from the language of the pasuk when it says from the 9th day B'Tishul HaChodesh Me'erev Ba'erev Me'erev, we learn a special mitzvah in Torah that according to everybody it applies to Yom Kippurim. There is a debate whether it applies to Shabbos or Yom Tov as well, but that's the mitzvah of Tosefes Yom Kippurim, to add a couple of minutes to start the fast early on Yom Kippur, and that adding the mitzvah of fasting those couple of minutes, a special mitzvah in our Torah learned out of the pasuk of B'Tishul HaChodesh Ba'erev Me'erev Ad Erev.